Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melisa Caprio.
Hey guys, and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. It is Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. I love doing my show. I hope you guys are doing well today. Doing pretty good over here. Just had a major thunderstorm pass through. That's what I love about Florida. Like, it literally was 30 minutes. Like, you would think there was a hurricane, and it just comes through so fast, and then it just leaves, and the sun is out now again. Today I have a really cool guest, spiritual energy healer, Tracey Whittet, on, and she's going to join me in just a few minutes, and we're going to be focusing on healing from the inside out. So I'm excited to speak with her today. To my regulars, thanks guys for coming each week. It means so much to me that you're here, you keep coming back, and that you're downloading my show and loving the guests that I'm having. So thank you. If this is your first time here, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much. And I hope you keep coming back. And just to let you know that any show that we have on live, we're on live right now, but any show that you're listening to, just for the future, if you can't listen live, you can always get on the replay here at OMTimes Radio. And I also download the show onto my website, Postcards to the Universe, as a podcast each week. So you could always catch it there. A little bit about me, if you're just joining me, I'm an artist, I'm a photographer, and I'm also an author. And I have a book out, and it's titled Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. And in my book, I have 30 manifesting stories along with the photographs that I took of the contributors, manifesting postcards. And a manifesting postcard is very similar to vision boarding. It's like a little mini vision board. And in the book, I have a bunch of exercises that helps people get clear on what it is they want to manifest, because we're not always really sure. We know we want to feel something, but we're not always sure how to get it. So there's a toolbox full of fun exercises in, the main areas, the love, money, health, career, and so much more where we want to bring abundance. So if you're interested in learning more and doing some inner work exercises, and you can read everybody's really interesting journeys of transformation and inspiration and how they manifested what they wanted, please grab a copy of my book, which you can find on Barnes & Noble and Amazon, of course. And each week I ask people to send me a manifesting postcard, and I hope that you do. And if you do, please send me a little message that you're making one and sending one. And if you're like, what is she talking about? I don't know how to make one. You can find that out on my website, postcardstotheuniverse.com. I have a how to create a manifesting postcard area and the address where to send it. And on there, it tells you exactly, how to set the intention, how to create the space, and to sit and make your manifesting postcard and send it to me. And if you like Facebook, I have a group. It's called Postcards of Love. And the only thing on there you're going to find is cute stories, inspirational stories, and pretty pictures. Lots of animal stuff, just want to feel good. So I hope that I will see you over there. Each week I put out on my social medias, all my social medias, it's an image of usually one of the postcards that I receive or some kind of an affirmation, and I photograph it and I post it on Mondays. And I love to focus on affirmations. I think they're very powerful to shift our beliefs, and we're going to be talking more about that today. And this week's affirmation and its magical message is, I release all blocks. So all of us, every single one of us, 100% have had blocks in our lives. And a block basically is something that limits whatever it is we desire, let's just say, we have a limit. It's usually an emotional limit, and it stems from a fear, a limiting belief, a feeling undeserving or unworthy, feeling like we're struggling, and maybe that we can't even imagine ourselves having what it is we want. So unconsciously, we have so much negative self-talk that we may be blocking what it is that we want. And some of us have very, very deeply rooted blocks from the messages that we received growing up. And we don't even realize that we're carrying these blocks. And it actually repels the things and the desires that we want instead of attracting it. And what we want to do is we want to attract those things into our life that we want. We want to be a conscious co-creator with the universe. So we're going to, a few things that can help you discover is think about something you want, set an intention and an expectation of something you want to bring into your life. And think about, how does that make you feel? Are you resistant to it? Now, if resistance comes up from that desire, do you think maybe it'll never happen for you? Or maybe you believe you don't deserve it? And that's what's blocking you. And once you know what your blocks are, then you can take the action steps on how to remove those blocks, shift those blocks, heal those stories. And the good news is today's show is about healing emotional and physical blocks to having what we want. And I have an expert on who is going to help us. So let's get to her right now. I'm really, I'm learning something new today, and I love learning something new. So Tracey Whittet is a spiritual energy healer, a sacred conduit, and an intuitive guide. She lives in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and she does this thing called Transmosis Healing, and it's a unique integrated blend of energy modalities that offers people multidimensional body balancing. These sessions clear non-beneficial energies on all levels, layers, timelines, and dimensions. Clients feel better, happier, lighter, and are uplifted by the 100% pure divine light clearing. Clients receive an audio recording of the channeled clearings to support integration and to go even deeper. And this is what Tracey says. She says, training in many energy healing modalities has revealed a gift that by sharing what I see and hear and describing the energies presented provides deep healing. It seems to be a divine gift to be a messenger for our highest and greatest good. I am a certified spiritual healer, multidimensional body balancer, Reiki master, access conscious bars, and body facilitator, creative wellness instructor, a practitioner in divine healing hands, theta healing, Yoon method, healing touch, and even more. And these trainings have evolved and led me to my integrated method that Spirit has termed Transmosis, an unconscious transfer and assimilation of higher energies to raise the recipient's energy to equal the source energy. I love that. I'm so excited to talk to her. You can find out more if you go to her website, which I'm just going to spell out for you. So it's www.traceyWhittet.com. Welcome, Tracey. Thanks so much for being with me today.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Yes. I'm so excited too. Okay, so transmosis is a new term for me, and my Gemini brain that is always everywhere loves learning new things. So I was like, ooh, I've never heard this before. So we're going to start with, what is transmosis, and how did you channel this? You felt like you channeled this from Spirit, so maybe you can share that with us.
Sure, thank you. So long time ago, maybe 10, 20, it was probably about 15 years ago, I had a client on the bodywork table, and I was giving her a Reiki session. And as I had my hands on her body, I heard the word on the inner, transmosis. And I'm thinking, what is that? So I wrote it down on a whiteboard that was behind me so that I wouldn't forget, because, you kind of get altered when you're in a session and such. So I asked so many people, what does transmosis mean? Somebody that was a channeler or this or that, and nobody could tell me. So I'm like, fine, I'm going to go to the dictionary and I'm going to look up, the prefix, suffix, all those words, like transformation, etc. And then I was thinking osmosis for the mosis part. And so nobody could tell me what it meant. So I finally one day just asked the divine, I asked spirit, what does transmosis mean? And it is an unconscious transfer and assimilation of higher energies to raise the recipient's energy to equal the source energy. So it's like, what does that mean, right? So as time's gone on, I love to learn like you. I have a Gemini ascendant, so I get that. And I love to learn. So I've taken so many classes, right? Access consciousness, the bars, all the body classes, multidimensional body balancing. And what is the common denominator for me as the way that I guess, transmit energy or connect to it is I share what I hear and I see. And somehow when I do that, whether it's Reiki, whether it's whatever, now I'm just doing transmosis and I've kind of created it myself because it's evolved. It's evolved through me. So that's why you haven't heard of it before, because
Right.
It's kind of like a spiritually, divinely appointed word to me. And so I think that's my purpose here, is to bring it through into the world here and share what's happening. And so as I've worked in corporate America for like 40, 45 years. And so now that I'm semi-retired, let's call it, I am doing this full time. And as I've done this work one-on-one with many, 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 over hundreds of people, it keeps changing. And the work, it also keeps getting more potent. And I think what's happening, it's not me, it's not me. It's the consciousness of the world, the consciousness of the individuals that are attracted to do this work, and then my own. And we all keep expanding. And so as we do that, we realize that there's more out there than meets the naked eye, the invisible realms. And we have so many different bodies. Everything's like a hologram, a holographic image. So we have a physical body, but we also have an emotional body, a mental body, a spiritual body. And there are wounds, like hurts or misperceptions, things like that, wounds and disconnects that can get lodged in our bodies. And is it in the physical body? Is it in the emotional body? Where is it, right? And then what's so interesting, it's like spiritual anatomy. Transmosis is almost like spiritual hygiene, because, when we
That's a
have
good word. That's a
you
good
know?
term, spiritual hygiene. I like that. I haven't heard that
I
either.
mean,
I like that.
you think about it, we brush our teeth, we wash our body, our hair, all of the things, but we don't think about the invisible bodies that exist. And so once we have attuned ourselves to realize, oh, there might be something going on and it's unconscious, and so we don't really know it. And so people might have certain patterns or behaviors that keep reoccurring, and they go, oh, I thought I already worked through all that, and then it shows up again. But it's almost like a spiral of evolution going up, that we get to revisit it from a different point of view or a different angle, that particular, I'll call it an issue, let's say. So it can be, on the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual realms, but it can also be in all those different bodies that we have. And it could also be like, where is this energy stuck? Where is it blocked? And it could also be in our spiritual anatomy, meaning our endocrine system, which are our ductless glands. That's where our hormones are secreted into the bloodstream to tell every body in the body what to do. There's the nervous system, and that's the brain and the spinal cord. And then the peripheral nervous system is all through our hands and feet and legs and arms and all that. And then there's also the chakra system. So there's a myriad of places where we could have an energetic wound. And you're like, well, I keep having this pattern. So the way that I have created the process to link up to the beings, let's call it, of 100% pure divine light, is I ask individuals to please fill out a form. What do you want to work on? Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? And then tell me anything else you might want to work on. And then what I have is I've created a map, and it's basically just an 8.5 by 11-inch piece of paper with lots of words on it where any of these wounds and disconnects could be lodged. And if you've heard of applied kinesiology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Muscle testing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So before the client comes online on Zoom or in person to my office here in Santa Fe, I call in the individual's guides of 100% pure divine light. And I'm like, why do I always have to say 100% pure divine light? Well, the very first time that I had a clearing, multidimensional body balancing clearing, my teacher brought in my guides of 100% pure divine light, and she paused for a really long time. And I'm like, I finally asked her, I said, what's going on? And she said, oh, well, there's a changing of the guard. And I'm like, oh, I thought I was working with, let's say, I don't know, Saint Germain, the Great White Brotherhood, et cetera, but apparently not. So that was like a visceral experience for me. It's like, okay, she's right. We need to call in 100% pure divine light all the time, because there's a little bit of trickery and things like that that can happen in the world, and they can imitate. And you think you're working with pure divine light, but if you state it, if we command it through our voice or our thought, then it is, because that's just the way it works. So we call in 100% pure divine light, and I ask for your highest and greatest good to be done for yourself and for all concerned. Because remember, it's all one thing. It's not like just you. It's like, how can I be of the greatest service to the whole, to everyone, to everything? So without needing to know the story, like, oh, this happened to me when I was 5 years old and this and that, it's more like a broad brush stroke with light. And I think the sound is my voice. So the way I understand what happens, because I feel like a creator, I feel like an initiator of this Transmosis Healing, is that I call you in, I call me in, I call in our guides of 100% pure divine light, and we ask for the recipient, the person that's having the session, for their highest and greatest good. And then I ask to be shown, what do I need to do? What can I do to assist? And sometimes I actually feel like a highly skilled nurse. It's like, okay, we need a scalpel, we need this, we need to clear this, we need to clear that, and I just follow direction. I just follow the divine and what I hear and what I see. So when the client and I get together, we talk about their list, we talk about my list, and then it's almost like the guides of 100% pure divine light are listening. And so then we consecrate the session, and I say my little, call in 100% pure divine light, and I ask to be a pure divine vessel of truth, wisdom, and healing love for my client's highest and greatest good. And then I ask us all to take our egos and personalities and place them outside the consecrated space so that we can be as close as possible to pure divine consciousness for the recipient's highest and greatest good. And then it's kind of like, show me. And then I wait and I listen and I share out loud what I hear and what I see. And what I think I know is that as I share what I hear and what I see, the client or the recipient's consciousness hears that. They're laying fully clothed on a bodywork table, or they're sitting at their desk in front of their computer, as we're doing the session. And when you were a kid, when your mom or dad or caregiver, read you a story, or a teacher, you have that imagination, you have that etheric space where you can visualize it or feel it or know it, what they're saying. That's what I think happens, because as I share what I hear and what I see, the person hears and sees what they see and experience. And I believe that's where the alchemy happens, is by the recipient's consciousness interprets it, and then the changes happen. We use light and we use sound. and we clean, clear, cleanse, heal, harmonize, and balance anything that's out of sync, let's call it. And I just want to, I'll stop here in a second, but I have a friend who's clairvoyant, and she was on my table as a client. And she told me after the session, she goes, Tracey, I just have to tell you that everything that you are saying is actually happening. I'm like, whoa, thank you. Okay, because I'm not clairvoyant, like see with my eyes open sometimes, but not normally. So that gave me some relief, because it's like somehow people feel lighter, better, and so we clean out with light. The guides do it, but we kind of direct it. I guess I mediate the session, if you will. It's like I transmit the information, but I personally am not doing it, if that makes sense. I'm just the vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm just the vessel.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Oh my God, I love it. It's so interesting to me. And when you said that you were working on a client and you heard transmosis, and you're like, I don't know what that means, but it feels important, and you wrote it. I've said this in other shows, and I say this in my book. That's how Postcards to the Universe happened with me. I heard it, and I knew it was important, but I didn't know why it was important, right? And it took me a long time to figure it out, and I had no idea what I was going to do with it, but I felt like it was given to me. And it just kind of came around full circle, because when I started doing the work, at first I thought, okay, it's making the cards and it's talking about people's stories and, creating a book. But here I am so many years later, not at that time ever thinking about having a radio show. And now I have a radio show, right? And I'm talking to people who are doing this kind of work, people like you. And I have no idea where our show goes. It goes all over the world. Right? It just goes it's all over the world. They have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Anybody can listen to the podcast at any time. We're on the podcast. So that's how I know that when I heard it so many years ago, that it was divinely given. It wasn't just about me and doing a book. You know what I'm saying? Like I had no idea where it was going to come. And so there's people that are listening to this right now that are maybe talk therapy, whatever it is that they feel that they've been through, whatever trauma isn't working, because you keep talking about the same problem, right, over and over and over again, and it's not working. And this takes the healing to another level. Like you said, you don't even need to know why the problem is where it is, or where it stemmed from, or what the issue is. You just need to work on the light, using the light to heal the person from the inside out. So I don't know. I just felt like I needed to share that, because it's like I just saw it so clearly as I was listening to you talk, and from what you mentioned, people can connect with you, and they don't have to come to your office. You could do it through Zoom, which is amazing. So how does that work? Like, how do you work with people who aren't sitting next to you with this kind of healing work?
Well, it's kind of the exact same way. I close my eyes, I consecrate the session, and then I just share what I hear and I see, and I'm recording it. So I'm recording it so people have an audio file so that they can listen to it again later. And it kind of goes deeper as they listen to it later, because I encourage people to relax and let go and just receive, and let the beings of light and the words and the sounds come through their being to assist them. It's, I just had this image just now of like a colander or a sieve. You're just lifting you up so that we just get rid of all the non-beneficial frequencies that are less than 100% pure divine light. So on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say 10 is light, and then 9 to 1 is, air quotes, dark. And it exists. I respect it like I do electricity, but I don't spend a lot of time focusing on it. And what I find is that those are the energies that need to be cleared that aren't even ours, meaning everybody comes from a mother and a father, whether you're adopted or you don't know who they are, or whatever, through biology.
Right.
And so we have DNA and we have subconscious brains. And there's just a lot of things that are there that we don't really have in our full conscious awareness. So sometimes people act out a certain way, behaviors, etc., but it's something that isn't really theirs. It's something that they inherited. So inevitably, everybody, when I work with them, it's either the mother or the father or both. Those generations get cleared. And that's what I mean by the light and the dark. I put everybody, let's say with your parents, we call up your mother's side of the family, and I muscle test again, and I ask the question, is it 5 generations back? No. Okay, it's 50. All right, 50 generations back. That's a lot of people and a lot of time.
That's amazing that you can do that. And I want to find out a little bit more. I know we're almost at the halftime mark, so before we go into the next question, but because you do kinesiology and I'm fascinated, and I've done it and I know how to do it on myself because I've been doing it for years, but I want to know how you do it with a client who's not sitting on your table. So, and I want to find out too, if anybody who's been on your table has had any aha moments where they've come after the session and they're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that I was holding on to that, and explain that they've discovered something. So I'm really excited to hear about that. So let's take our commercial break here, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes, and we're going to dive more into Transmosis Healing. So stay tuned.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
Hi, I'm Melisa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on OMTimes Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The rainbow is God's promise of hope for you and me. And though the clouds hang heavy and the sun we cannot see, we know above the dark clouds that fill the stormy sky, hope's rainbow will come shining through when the clouds have drifted by. Tracey Caprio is the president and founder of Rainbow Guardian Inc., a nonprofit 501c3 serving the intellectually challenged / developmentally disabled, including autism. Teresa started the foundation in 1995 so she could help make a better life for her intellectually challenged daughter. Her dream is that the Rainbow Guardian will provide the necessary tools and education to help the public understand the special needs population, because it's often discarded in mainstream society. To find out more or make a donation in support, please go to www.rainbowguardian.org. Rainbow Guardian's special mission is to see these unique people live a happy, full life and have a future of liberty and equality.
Hey guys, and welcome back. If you're just joining me today, I have Tracey Whittet with me, and she does Transmosis Healing, which is a combination of different energy healing methods to bring us to, to raise our vibration, bring us up to pure divine energy, like to be like source energy. And she was given Transmosis as a word, and she's combined all her different healing methods to work on her clients. And so I was thinking during the break, Tracey, let's say I'm a client and I come to you, and we do know now that when there are things inside of us that aren't serving us, many times, and we manifest a dis-ease in our body that becomes a disease, right? So it makes us sick. And you talk about that. And you were even talking about many of the unconscious beliefs that we're carrying, we inherited from our familial DNA, down the line. So I come to you and I have an issue in my body, and I don't know why. And I do a session. So does somebody like me or somebody who's come to you have in that way, like all of a sudden by having a healing with you, discovered maybe the root cause of why it manifested as, say, like a bad stomach or kidney disease or anything like that? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I believe that the energy, the root cause is what I'd like to find and ask Spirit to help me find as the local representative here in the third dimension to assist a person in the third dimension. Right. So we have soul body, etheric body, mental body, causal body, astral body, superphysical, and physical. So I believe that if you had a reoccurring, let's just talk about mental thoughts. If you had a reoccurring thought, like, I'm not good enough, whether it's conscious or unconscious, throughout your whole life, I mean, eventually there would be a weakness dependent upon your personality, dependent upon your genetic code and all your lifestyle choices. Let's say I'm not good enough, so I'm going to drink alcohol obsessively, et cetera. Then your liver or your pancreas, with the sugar and all, could be compromised, right?
Right.
But typically, hopefully, and most of the time, people who come to me are on the spiritual path, or they're a higher higher awareness. So it's not like a prisoner in the federal penitentiary is going to want to have this session, if you will. And I don't mean any disrespect, but I did work in that industry.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's usually people that are already seeking these kind of healings and already open to it and doing a lot of reading and research and,
Yeah.
So that's usually the people that come your way. I get it.
Yeah. Well, there was a woman recently who said, I just keep feeling like there's just something in my mom's side of the family that I just can't shake. I feel like it's blocking me, this and that. And, and I don't know. I don't know the answer. And the human mind of me isn't going to problem solve it. But during this session, it was fascinating. We called up her mother's side of the family. I think it was 50 generations back. And we put them all in and they look like symbols to me, like paper dolls, all connected, horizontally. So there's no, it's very neutral. So I gather all those paper dolls up, if you will, symbolically, and I place them all in the holographic separation room. And then we bind and gag, and those are pretty strong words, but we bind and gag any misqualified energies, so when they go into the separation room, they're automatically pulled out and separated from the lineage. And then I call up the list, which is 9 to 1, which was the darkness, and we bind and gag that. And then I ask for the purple transmuting container to come and transmute all lower frequencies to higher frequencies. So we allow that process to continue. During that process with this client, if you give the soul what it needs or wants, then healing occurs. So everything has a soul. So that ancestral lineage of her mom's side of the family, 50 generations back, has a soul. So basically, I ask, is there anything else you need before we return you home, basically? And they said yes. And all of a sudden, this Native American chief kind of, in my mind's eye, just kind of came out from the center and rose. And I shared that, and she was conscious enough at that moment in the session to say, yes, I do have Native American lineage on my mom's side of the family. So it's kind of cool that we both co-create the session together, and we both learn as we go. And Spirit knows what's going on at the higher perspective. And so this being has been working with her and helping her. And so can I say that I would love to be like Jesus and put somebody's ear back on, but it depends on the client's consciousness. It's not me doing it, to my knowledge. That would be, I would love to work with somebody just one time and then that's it. And they're healed forever. Yay. But
that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you if that ever happens, because I do know the higher frequency we vibrate. And if we are at the level of source energy, we could have instantaneous manifesting, instantaneous healing. But the reason that it doesn't happen for us humans is because we have so much other stuff that is causing the energies to be more resistant or move slower, get back. I don't know exactly how I would describe it, but I know you know what I'm talking about.
I get you. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's not like this is our only lifetime either, in my opinion. We've been incarnating over and over. So how many of these experiences have we had that we haven't cleaned up?
Oh, probably hundreds and hundreds. That's a lot of stuff. And then if we're carrying ancestral components on top of that, I mean, with this client, you went back 50 generations. That is a lot of human energy.
It is.
That has to be cleared. So really quick, before you continue, if you're working with me and we're online, how are you muscle testing me? How am I being muscle tested?
Oh, yeah. So if you go to a chiropractor, typically they're muscle testing your deltoid muscle, which is your shoulder, right? And you put your arm out and they use 2 fingers and they just kind of push on your wrist to see the strength, whether it's, strong or weak. And your body doesn't lie. So it always tells you, like a nerve reflex point, like in your knee. So I had a roommate who was a chiropractor, and she had clients who might not like that or get that. So she would just do it herself. And she taught me to use my index finger, and then my middle finger goes on top of the fingernail of my index finger. So I use my fingers.
Yeah.
But I am also the pendulum, and that's part of access consciousness training. So if you ask a question, it's called the heavy and light tool. If someone were to ask a question, what is that they know the answer to is true. Like, I know my name is Tracey. So I said, is it true that my name is Tracey? My body responds light, like it's almost like gravity is lifted off of the top of me somehow. So I feel it in my high heart, my high heart, or my throat. That for my body is a yes or truth. Now, if it's false and it's heavy, usually the energy is down in the solar plexus or the sacral chakra. It's just heavier. So if I asked a question that I know is false, like, is my name Melisa? My body is just like, no. And so
you're doing it on yourself for me, for example, if I was your client. you would be
Yes.
muscle testing on yourself, and we would pick questions that we know are 100% truth, like my name and
Yep.
stuff like that. So you can feel the difference, and then to
Yes.
something that wasn't true. So you would go
Yes.
through my bodies, all the different light bodies, to see where it is, where the energy is blocked.
Yes, and it might
Okay.
say endocrine system, chakra system, let's say soul, astral, and field. Those are the intersections, let's say. But as we're going through the hour session, we talk for about 15 minutes before and after, right? So in the hour session of channeling or chinning or whatever you want to call it, when I'm sharing what I hear and I see, who knows how all of that information in the cosmic soup comes through in an hour session. And so I feel like it's a clearing, etheric clearing that touches everything that you need in that one session. And what has been interesting to me, and maybe to the audience and you, is that with Transmosis, now what's happening is I don't have to go into all the nitty gritty. Oh, let's work on the nervous system of the astral body and the chakra system of the soul body. It's the light takes over, and then it's kind of like taking care of all of it. It's just it's been phenomenal. It's been actually very interesting. And so at the end of the session, I feel like, okay, because we can't stay too long in that vibration. I mean, we can, but I want to honor the recipient. And so after we're like concluding and giving gratitude and things, I look at my map, and it's got a lot of words on it where it could be like, if it's a disconnect, if it's a wound, what is it? I ask, is everything cleaned up on here that we said we wanted to work on, or what showed up prior to the session? And I muscle test myself. I use my left hand and I push my middle finger onto my left index finger, and truth is strong for me. If it's false, then it goes down. And then I just say, okay, show me if it's false. But it's usually the light takes care of it. It's very, very difficult to describe because it's invisible. It's etheric.
Yeah, I do muscle testing by sway testing. And I do that a lot with vitamins. So if I hold something, if I sway forward, that's a yes for me. If I sway backwards, it's a no. And that's always a good way to see something new that I maybe want to introduce as a supplement if it's for me. And you could do it with the dosage and everything. So that's how I do it on myself. And you can do it with anything, really. I always thought that they should have an expert kinesiologist work with police officers when they're doing like the interrogation, like to see if they committed the crime.
So that is a perfect point to that yes and no thing when your body is saying this is truth and this is false, when you notice if it's heavy or light. So that works not only for yourself or your client, but when you can ask your child or your friend or your mother, you can ask them a question and they will answer you, and your body will resonate and respond and let you know if they're telling the truth or not.
I know, it's so fascinating. Listen to all you parents with teenagers if you want to see what they're doing.
Yeah, and you just keep asking open-ended questions because that expands the energy. Open-ended meaning, this is access, but it's like, what else is possible?
So can we do some of this on ourselves? I know you co-authored a book called The Magi Within, and can we learn about Transmosis Healing from your book?
Not yet. I'm writing it now.
Yeah, okay, awesome.
Yeah. Realizing wholeness is what I'm in the process of writing and working with the publisher. I actually have a meeting with the publisher, this week. So this is exciting.
Congrats. I can't wait to read it when it comes out. But you can learn a lot about healing from your book, The Magi Within, Unlocking the Gifts to the Inner Self.
I'm a co-author. Okay. Yeah, I'm a co-author of The Magi Within. It's like the Magi.
I call it the Magi, because I'm going like magic. So I'm like Magi, without the C, the Magi. Right, that's the correct way to pronounce it, the Magi.
Well, instead of it being men, we were women. There are 3 wise women that wrote this book together.
I love it.
It's a book about intuition, and I'm all about empowering people. I want to save the world, but obviously I can't do it all by myself. So I want to empower people, teach them to fish, teach people how to do this for themselves. Ask questions, notice if it's heavy or light, and follow the energy that's light, and your life improves. But with the Magi Within, it's 26 chapters. They're very short, and it's for each letter of the alphabet. A is awareness, B is bliss, C is creativity, Z is 0 point, goes on and on. So in the morning, you could open up the book and just see what chapter, kind of like an oracle card, and see what chapter comes to you, or just think of a letter. Let's say it's K, K for kindness. And you just read the short little, I want to call it a blurb, page and a half about kindness. And then let's say you did it in the morning, and then you would just be with kindness all day long, and you learn to trust your inner magi, your inner intuition, your own knowing, because you know what you know, but do you trust it? You ask a question, trust the answer, acknowledge it, and accept it. So it's all about intuition, and it's a workbook designed to empower people to trust their own intuition, their own inner realms. That's where the action is all in the invisible, in the inner realms.
Yeah, so you can ask yourself questions about your own health, your mental health, and your physical health, and see what kind of intuitive hits you get on maybe what's going on inside your own, in your own life, in your own body, in your own emotional body, whatever it is that you're dealing with. That's really interesting. And I know you guys can get it on Amazon. Can they get it if they go to your website, TraceyWhittet.com?
Okay, so it's free. Right now it's free. It's a PDF. You just put in your email address so it can be sent to you. And it's a PDF of the book, but it's not the same as the book. And honestly, I'm working on another version, a second edition of the Magi Within. I'll probably call it something else like the Inner Magi or something like that, and kind of like upgrade it, because we published this in 2015, but I want to offer it to people who, let's say they can't afford it, $17, $20 or whatever on Amazon. So they could at least get it for free in a PDF form. They look at it on their computer, tablet, or print it. But it has artwork that goes with it too. So that was fun, because the three of us created, how do we draw a picture of awareness?
I love that. I love that. As a creative person myself, that's like, how do I use photography in this whole thing? I had to think about that. So I love that. I love that you guys are tapping in your creativity. So I want to ask you, from, obviously you can't reveal any personal information, but from some of the clients that you've had, what have been some of the miraculous healings that you've seen or you've witnessed from your sessions, if you could share with us?
Well, let's see. I have on the website, I have posted some of the testimonials, but basically, I just want to say, I did have a friend, a dear friend, who unfortunately had stage 4 cancer. And what she chose to do was to have a weekly session. And this is not normal. You have one session and maybe that's the only one you ever have. But we worked with her every week because she wanted to clear as much as possible for her next incarnation, So a lot of people say that they feel like they received, here's one of them. I feel as if I received a full reboot that calmed and reset my nervous system, opened my heart, and restored my trust in myself and the universe. I mean, that's pretty cool.
I love that. And I swear, I think everybody, especially once you hit middle age, needs a reboot. We need a reboot for the second half. We do. We just do. As we get older, things get heavier, life is tough sometimes, and we become overwhelmed, and we could all use a reboot. So I love that. That's a great testimonial. Yeah. That's how I think I would want to feel after having a session with you. I would want to feel like, did I clear some of that junk that is stuck? Maybe in my ethereal body, maybe in my astral body, maybe from generations ago that I just can't shake. And I'm sure a lot of people probably have come to you and say, I don't really know what's wrong, but something's not right.
Well, you know what? That's exactly why I decided to go ahead and ask people to fill out a form that
Mhm.
tells me, what do you want to work on physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Because
Yeah.
if you declare it, if you get in touch with it, then you
Mhm.
get what you ask for. Ask and you shall receive. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot to it. Most people say they feel lighter, they feel better, they feel calm. I'm trying to
Love
recall.
that.
I'll
That's
say one
amazing.
thing.
So, are you going to be teaching other practitioners how to do this kind of work? Are you already doing that? Are you going to like be giving like workshops down in the future for those who are really like, this is something that's really intrigued them? Because if you just look at your bio, you have so much experience and so many different healing methods, right? To
Right.
allow you to do this kind of work. Are you offering that for people yet? Or
Not yet. I am
yeah,
working on the online course. I mean, it's
awesome.
really sacred work. It's
Yeah.
not like, it's very sacred. It's very deep. I had a client recently come over and I started asking her questions and she's like, well, I didn't really want to go this deep. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's what this work does. It goes
Us.
deep.
Right, right.
It's soul work. There was a woman that I worked with that said, it's like guidance comes through, but I'm just the vehicle. Okay. And she said,
Mhm.
Tracey's guidance during the session helped the healing of the passings of both my children. When I came out of the
Oh
session,
my
I felt a
God.
magnitude of peace and comfort. I felt new, less burdened, less guilt, less torture that I had created towards myself. She said, a calmness of my heart that I had not felt in many years. I listened to the recording again this morning, and the same peace came over me as it did yesterday. I know that because of her helping me heal that, I can always return to that state of peace for the rest of my earthly life. I want to give this gift of transmosis healing to all the people I love so that they may have this peace as well. So I am, so I just had to share that because she was a very
No.
profound woman that I worked with,
Oh my
that
God.
did
And did you
receive.
say she lost two of her children?
Exactly.
Oh
Yes.
my God. I didn't even think about working like with that somebody could work with you who's suffering grief in that way, like from a
Right.
death, like a loss.
Sometimes
Wow.
it's, yeah, sometimes it's
Mhm.
anger.
Mhm.
Yeah, sometimes it can't even be listed. You know, it's depression, it's
Mhm.
anxiety. There's so much that we deal with being in a physical body here, you know?
Yes, I know. That's why in one day, if you very aware of your emotions, you could wake up very joyful, and then by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're really angry about something, and then you're crying later in the day, and in a 24-hour period, you're like, "What is going on?" Because
Exactly.
there's a lot coming at us that we're not fully aware of. So, and it's really fascinating how we're picking up on other people's emotions and we're holding on to that. So, this is a
Hard
great way
being
to,
sensitive and
yes,
empathic and intuitive,
yes.
and it's hard to distinguish, is this my energy or is it someone else's? And we're walking around thinking it's us when in fact it's something else. It's not even ours. And so there's tools with access that we can return. But yes, now that, I'm just going to say, now that COVID's over and stuff, we can
Mhm.
meet in person. It's better. But I'm only one person, and we're
Right.
working on the first book, the second book, and then the online course. But I think it's better when we're in person because it takes a special person that is, I don't want pure and has
Mhm.
this desire. It's not like just check the box and take another class. This is pretty
Right.
deep work, and I didn't even realize it, but it's sacred. It's very sacred. It's very
Mhm.
life transforming. I heard the other day that I was a transformative agent. That's what Spirit said. I'm like, okay, cool.
I love
you
that.
know,
Yeah, and the more you do it, I'm sure the more you're gonna, your new things are gonna keep coming to you too. And wow,
yeah.
and I'm sure, yeah, it's just amazing. We only have like a couple minutes, so is there anything that you didn't get a chance to share that you feel that people need to hear that's really important?
Hmm. Well, I have no clue, truth, if this
Mhm.
works. But I've just, like you said, as time goes on and you're working with people and things shift and change, what I want to do is simplify this work because there's a lot to it. So
Mhm.
what I've been doing is just saying a new intention every day is I say, activate transmosis. And then, I leave it up to spirit to do that for me on all levels, layers, timelines, and dimensions. And I just felt just now that I better add a caveat. Please, in the morning, when you connect with yourself and the divine, if you don't, please do. It's a really great way to start your day, just simply asking to connect to your guides of 100% pure divine light and ask for your highest and greatest good to be done for yourself and for all concerned. And then you could say, activate transmosis, and then just see what happens.
I love that. Oh my God, Tracey, this is so fascinating. I love when people are doing healing work. I think we all need healing. This earth would be a much better place if we were all working on our own healing, right? How can people find you and connect with you or follow you or, maybe want to have a session with you? TraceyWhittet.com, the best way?
Yep. TraceyWhittet.com. And then I'm on Facebook and all those of the same name, Tracey Whittet.
Thank you so much, Tracey. It was such a pleasure. And guys, thank you for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. And I'm wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. Peace.